This video has sound. Hopefully everybody can hear it. Otherwise they're looking at this sign and seeing this and hopefully getting their sound up and running. This lesson is on Chapter 11, Section 2, Part 1 of the Geometry Chapter 11 Study Guide. It is on the area of a trapezoid. Now, a trapezoid is basically a four-sided shape where there's only one pair of opposite sides that are parallel to one another. So you can see on this particular type of trapezoid that I've drawn, these two sides are not parallel to each other, but these two are. Remember when you see those little arrows, that means that's an indication of parallel pair. So the height of a trapezoid must be measured straight up and down. This is a concept that I emphasized in section 11.1. A great deal. So, put an exclamation point there. So what do I mean by that? You cannot measure the height of this trapezoid along the side, because height has to be measured from the highest point straight up and down to the base. So the height of this trapezoid could be measured in one of two ways. It could be measured inside the trapezoid, has to be straight up and down. If this is the base, if it's an object kind of sitting on a shelf, this is the side that it would be sitting on. That's your base. And then straight up and down, from there up to the highest point, which would be this level, that's the height. So as I said, you can measure the height inside the shape straight up and down, or you can have an indication of height on the outside. As long as it's straight up and down from the top to the bottom like that, that's the height. So it turns out with trapezoids, they say that there are two bases. One base is the side that it's sitting on, and then the other one is the side that's parallel to that one. And they usually call these base number 1 and base number 2. So in the formula you can see that they've marked this B sub 1 for base number 1 and B sub 2 for base number 2. And that the height on this one is marked inside the trapezoid, although you could certainly find it outside as long as it was perpendicular to the top and the bottom. So the area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times the height times the sum of the two bases. So if you add up base sub 1 and base sub 2, oops, that's a 2, together, and then multiply that number by the height and multiply that by 1/2, you'll be able to find the total area of the shape. So let's do some examples. Example 1. To prevent beavers from damming a drainage pipe, the trapezoid-shaped fence shown is placed at the pipe. Approximate the area enclosed by the fence. Okay, so what I see is I see a base here of 8 feet, I see a base here of 16 feet, and I see a height here of 8√2 feet. Again, the height has to be measured straight up and down. So the area of this shape, I'm going to use the formula, is 1/2 times the height times the sum of the two bases, so 16 plus 8. So remember, we have to add inside the parentheses first. So I'm going to first add 16 plus 8, which gives me 24. And then I can multiply all these together. So if I were you, I would take my calculator and I would first find the square root of 2 as a decimal. Then I would multiply that by 8, and multiply that by 24, and then multiply that by 0.5, which is the same as 1/2, which gives me 135.76 square feet. Remember that when we write square feet, even though we say it's square feet, we write it feet squared. Do not put the square over here. Always put it here when you're indicating the units of area. On this one, number 1, down here, you can see that the height is actually straight up and down here. Sometimes the height is the same as the side as a shape, and sometimes it's not. as long as the height is measured straight up and down, it doesn't matter where it is. You can see here the height was inside the shape and inside the shape, but here it's actually part of the side of the shape. So the area here is 1/2 times the height, which is 4, times the sum of the two bases. So we're going to add 7 and 9 together. So remember that you add first 7 plus 9 to get 16, then multiply straight across. 0.5 times 4 times 16 gives you 32 square feet. And again, remember the square goes on the unit, not over here. On this trapezoid, using the formula 1/2 times the height times the two bases added together, the height is 8. It doesn't matter which one you call base 1 or base 2, 5 and 14. So you add first, which gives you 19, and then you would multiply 1/2, which is the same as 0.5, times 8 times 19, which gives you 76. I don't tell you the units, so you can just use UN for generic units, and this is area, so it's units squared. And now we're going to skip down to the bottom of the page, where they don't tell you how long the sides are, but you could find that by counting squares. For example, the base on the top is 1, 2, 3 squares wide, so that would be 3 units across there. The base on the bottom is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 squares across, so that would be 6 units there. And then the height, as long as you count straight up and down, it doesn't matter where you count. You could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units straight here, or you could measure on the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units there. Either way, the height is 5. So the area here, 1/2 times height times the sum of the two bases, being the formula for a trapezoid, is 1/2 times 5 times 3 plus 6. So you'd add first to get 9, and then you'd multiply 0.5 times 5 times 9, which gives you 22.5 square units of area. And then finally this one. This is a slightly more advanced question. Here they actually give you the area, and they want you to find something else. They want you to find the height. So they give us all the things that we would need in this equation except for the height. And that's okay, because an equation, as long as there's just only one thing that you don't know, then you can solve for that. So what we need is we need area number. We have that. We don't have the height, but we do have the two bases. So we have all numbers except for the height. So that means we can use this formula as an equation and then solve for the height. So the area is 5.5 square miles. The height we don't know. They want us to call that x, so I'll call it x. And then the two bases are 2.3 and 3.2. These two added together are 5.5. Half of 5.5 is 2.75. If you multiply 0.5 times 5.5, that's what you get. And then at this point, I'm going to divide both sides by 2.75. So x equals 6